Green flags. What does emotional availability look and feel like? I've been doing this work for a long time, and one of the things that I've noticed in the culture online, in the conversations women bring to me, is that we've become very fluent in the language of red flags. We know what to look out for. We know the patterns. We know that I hate drama and the inconsistent texting and the love bombing and the gradual erosion of your needs in favour of managing his moods. What I hear far less often, and what I think is actually more important, is a conversation about green flags, about what emotional availability actually looks and feels like. Because if you have been in a relationship where anxiety was the texture of love, where uncertainty was the signal that something was real, where you were always slightly off balance, slightly working for it, trying to earn it, then when genuine safety shows up, you may not recognize it. Just see how my shoulders went down thinking about texture of anxiety, safety and security. You might not recognize your nervous system settling down. And you may actually even experience it as boring, as low stakes. It lacks the intensity or the chemistry that you've come to associate with love. I want to talk about that today, because that gap between knowing what you don't want and knowing what you're actually looking for is one of the most important things to close before you go into dating. It's something that I see come up time and again in Calling in the One especially, and it's worth giving it real space here. Let me start with the picture I know well. If you have an anxious attachment style, and many of the women I work with do, for very understandable reasons that are deeply rooted in childhood, your nervous system will have encoded love as a particular emotional texture of anxiety, that nervous energy. There'll be some degree of having to work to be chosen, to be seen, to be valued, to feel important. There will be some degree of not quite knowing where you stand, and not knowing generates a kind of activation that feels like being alive, feels like excitement and almost rapture, but it isn't. It's anxiety dressed up in an anxious frock. When someone is genuinely consistent, genuinely present with you, genuinely emotionally available, turns up in your life, that activation of anxiety and tension is absent. There's no uncertainty to manage. You can be yourself. You can relax and be honest and open. You feel safe. There's no gap between what is said and what is done. There's no performance to maintain, no reading of moods, no holding of breath before they respond, no waiting for texts that never come. There's reliability, security. But your nervous system will say, something's missing, something's wrong. This doesn't feel like love. This feels like settling. This can't be real. And I want to say something really important here. That feeling is not evidence. It's a pattern, and it's a pattern that can change. It's old evidence of your old story, your old emotional patterns from your earliest childhood emotional wounds, many of which you probably are not even aware of. So what does emotional availability actually look like? Let me give you some of the green flags I look for with my clients. This isn't an abstract list, but it's things that you can actually observe and feel in the early stages of getting to know someone. The first is consistency between their words and their behaviour. They walk their talk. I know it sounds obvious, but it's harder to assess than it sounds. A man who's emotionally available says he will call, and he does. He makes plans and he keeps them. He says he's interested and he shows it. He's respectful, he's patient. He's quietly without drama. And it's ordinary to him. It's natural to him in the way that he shows up. He's not making a big effort. You can see there's not strain or performance. No grand gestures. Simply reliability, steadiness, unremarkable follow through. He's someone who's consistent. When that's the case, there's nothing to decode. There's no anxiety, no wondering, no waiting for the next breadcrumb to fall that makes you feel like you mean something. You already know that you mean something because he's reliable and consistent and keen. But after a long history of decoding, second guessing and wondering, that can feel quite disorientating. It's so simple. It's unnerving. The second green flag I'd like to talk about is how someone handles moments of disappointment or friction between you. In the early stages of dating, you will inevitably have small moments of mismatch, a plan that needs to change, a misunderstanding, something that lands awkwardly between you. An emotionally available man handles those moments with ease. He might not do it perfectly, but he's doing it with ease and calm and curiosity. He can take responsibility and say, I got that wrong, I'm sorry, without collapsing or without being defensive. He can hear that something did not land well and be curious about it rather than threatened by it. He can naturally hold friction without needing to win. He wants to get to the bottom of it. He wants to understand and he wants to resolve. The third green flag goes along with that really well. It's accountability. And I mean accountability without victimhood. So this connects to what I said in the profile reading video. When a genuinely emotionally available person talks about their past relationships, there is some sense, even if it's hard won, of their own role in how things went. And I don't mean self-punishment and self-reproach, harsh criticism, just a recognition that they played their part. They made some mistakes themselves. People who can't access this, who can only position themselves as the wronged party in every previous relationship, they have not yet developed the reflective capacity that genuine partnership requires. They're still the victim. They can't see their role in things. They can't see how the interaction or the relating is a two-way street. And they don't look to resolve misunderstandings. They look for shame and blame, stepping away and blaming. The fourth green flag, and the one I find very telling, is how they relate to your feelings. Not just the easy feelings, the delight, the warmth, the attraction. This is more about how they relate to the harder ones. A man who's emotionally available can sit with you while you're being sad or anxious or needing something and thinking things through without making it about him. He doesn't try to manage your feelings away. He doesn't try to minimize or invalidate them. He does not become the problem just because a problem exists. It doesn't become about managing him because he can't be with you in these difficult times, which adds another problem for you. He is solid enough to be there with you, a stable presence while you have your feelings. And this capacity to hold space without requiring rescue is one of the rarest and most important things I know to look for. I want to say something about the body, because the mind can be talked into many things. The body knows before the mind catches up. It's a brilliant source of information. When you're with someone who is emotionally available and genuinely safe, ask yourself, how do I feel in my body? It's not necessarily electric, and that's worth sitting with. Does it feel relaxed? Does your breathing stay steady? Is there a quality of settling into the interaction, welcoming rather than bracing for it? Can you be yourself without monitoring how you come across? These are all physical signals, and they are data for you to observe. In Calling in the One, we spend real time learning to read this, to trust what your body is telling you rather than talking yourself out of it, rather than making allowances, going through all the old patterns of people pleasing, codependence, accommodating. You trust what your body is telling you. The distinction I invite the women I work with to make is between two kinds of settled. There's the settled as in resigned, the flatness of being with someone when the excitement is completely absent, because there's no connection, there's no feeling of a bond, there's no warmth, there's no real connection. But that's not what I'm describing. The kind of settled I'm describing is a feeling of being at peace, the particular quality of ease that comes from being with someone in whose presence you don't have to perform or self-protect. That ease can feel unfamiliar, particularly if you've had some rough relationship experiences. It can even feel initially like the absence of something, but it's not. Stay with it. It's the presence of something most of us have not experienced enough of to be able to recognize it. The green flag is not the absence of intensity. It's the presence of safety. And safety isn't boring. It gives you the ground to express yourself from, to live and be fully you. And it's the one thing that makes deep and genuine intimacy possible. The free dating guide I have, Dating with Clarity, is in the description and has the full deal makers and deal breakers framework there. It gives you the 12 green flags you're looking for. They're made concrete and they're tangible to you. And the newsletter is where I go into this kind of thing in depth every week. Both links are below. Please do join me there.